What's going on, everybody? This is Brian from SneakerFiles.com, and this video is part 2 of the 2022 Air Jordan release dates ultimate guide. I didn't think I was going to be able to do a part 2 until sometime in 2022, but we got a lot of leaks to talk about. Before I get into things, like always, greatly appreciate a thumbs up, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe by hitting the red button below. This is going to be a fairly long video. I don't know if it'll be as long as part 1, but it should be longer than my news videos. Now, there is going to be a link in the description below which will take you to part 1 of this mini series I got going. And for this video, I'm not going to go over any shoes that were featured in the previous one, unless we received a first look or a release date change. For example, the Air Jordan 1 High OG Dark Marina Blue, that shoe was featured in the previous video and will be featured here, and that's because they have a new release date. So I hope that makes sense. As well, we have a lot of new leaks to talk about, and I gotta give a shout out to Z Sneakerhead Z and Mr. Unloved Ones. They put out the majority of these leaks several days ago. I actually knew about this stuff for a while. They confirmed it. Their word is solid. We all know that. And I have also confirmed with my sources, so we're good to go on these releases. The only thing that may change is the date. Now, in the case that it does change, there is a link in the description below which will take you to SneakerFiles.com, specifically our Air Jordan release dates page, which is updated all the time. So whenever there's a release date change, immediately it's updated. Also, I will be putting it in upcoming news videos, so if you rather listen than read, you'll get that here. And of course, if there's enough, I'll do a part 3 of this series where the info can be found in that video as well. This video should be out before Christmas, and my next upload will be after, so I want to wish you guys Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And now, let's get into it. Now, I already know some people like the shoes, some people hate them, but one thing we can't deny is the amount of hype that this particular model has received over the past maybe 2 years. Anyways, one of the pairs that was launched back in 2007, known as XQ, will be making a return. Now, when they dropped back in 2007, there was only 240 pairs made, all released exclusively in China. Now, Jordan Brand did release this version as a Air Jordan 1 High OG in 2013. The pair was known as Ignite Shanghai. And what you're looking at on the screen is a first look at the 2022 version. They're pretty close to the original release. However, one of the details lands on the insoles, which features the number 25. Now, although not confirmed, I do believe that this celebrates the 25th anniversary when Jordan Brand became Jordan Brand. Also, the pair will come dressed in a white, gold dust, sport red, and black colorway. And for this pair, we don't have a specific release date. Yes, there's still time in 2021 for them to release, but more than likely this is going to be a 2022 drop. And currently, no retail price, and it isn't known if this is going to be another China exclusive release. There will be several pairs in this video that I featured in the last. One of them is the Air Jordan 9 Particle Gray. Recently, we received a first look, so what you're looking at is what's going to hit retailers in spring 2022. Now, if you remember my previous video, the pair was originally scheduled to debut in January. Now, it's still possible that they could drop in January, but the date is up in the air. So just to play it safe, saying spring is the release time frame is probably best, and the retail price will be $200. Also, as you can see, the pair is very close to the Photoshop. They come dressed in a black university red, particle gray, and white colorway. Union will have multiple collaborations released in 2022, which will include 2 colorways of the Union Air Jordan 2. Now, in the previous video, I shared official photos of the Gray Fog pair. At the time, we didn't know what the Rattan pair would look like, so of course I made mention of it, but I didn't go into any detail. If you've been watching the news videos or been on IG, then more than likely you've already seen the first look, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to include it. And personally, I'm more of a fan of the Gray Fog pair. I like the blue hits. These aren't bad, but I definitely favor the gray and blue color combination. Unfortunately, we don't have a specific release date for the two. They are expected to debut sometime this spring, and the retail price will be $225 each. First seen thanks to the sneakers live stream, we have a first look at the Air Jordan 5 Low Women's in Arctic Orange. Now, the Jordan 5 Low isn't a very sought after model. Certain colorways do a lot better than others, of course. Maybe some of you might like this pair, which is cool if you do, and they feature an Arctic Orange, Siren Red, and Black colorway. So we have a very light shade of orange. It almost looks like pink on the upper, the regular translucent areas that will land on the mesh and eyelets, and then we have a brighter shade of pink, which I believe is called Siren Red, that fills in most of the midsole, lace lock, and hinted at the toe. Lastly, a translucent outsole finishes the look. For this pair, January 20th is the current release date, and the retail price will be $175. Jordan Brand unveiled their upcoming Chinese New Year collection, which is known as Year of the Tiger. Now, there's 3 shoes part of this collection, which includes the Air Jordan 1 Low OG, the Air Jordan 6 Low, and the Jordan Legacy 312. Now, the Air Jordan 1 Low OG is currently scheduled to release on December 30th. However, it's rumored that a global launch will take place in February. So to go over each pair, as you can see, it comes in shades that resembles a tiger as well as tiger print. The pair also has black satin on the liner, we have a tiger head on the heel, and the outsole has a yellow translucent finish which displays the Wings logo. Now, this pair is limited to 5,000. Each is individually numbered. There's a special label on the inside of the tongue. And like I mentioned, they will release in Greater China on December 30th, 2021, but a global launch is expected to take place in February 2022. Currently, we don't have a retail price. Next up is the Air Jordan 6 Low Chinese New Year. Previously, we thought that the shoes might feature a wear-away upper due to the texture that was on the toe box. Well, the toe box is actually inspired by Ge Kiln. Now, I believe that's how you pronounce it. If I mispronounce it though, I apologize. But that's a type of porcelain, one of 5 great kilns of Chinese ceramics produced during the Song Dynasty. Ge porcelain features a cracking pattern, so that will land on the Air Jordan 6 as well as the Jordan Legacy 312. Now, that really doesn't answer if the shoes will feature a wear-away upper. It's still possible. And currently, the Air Jordan 6 Low is scheduled to release globally on February 4th. For that pair, we don't have a retail price. Also, I'm hearing reports that there's a possibility this will be a grade school in below exclusive. Again, I don't have confirmation on that, but I will make sure to update you guys in the following news video, as well as on SneakerFiles.com. Now, the Jordan Legacy 312 will feature a similar theme as the Air Jordan 6 Low. They also have a translucent outsole, and they are expected to release in Asia on December 30th, while a global release will take place in February 2022. More than likely, it will be around February 4th, but that's not confirmed. The next 3 releases I'm going to talk about for the month of February all have release dates. Again, remember, there are more releases coming. You can check out the previous 2022 Air Jordan release dates video. I will have a link in the description below. But this pair is the Air Jordan 4 Infrared. There's been a lot of talk about the shoes, and the reason they're featured here is because, again, we received a first look. So just to verify, the mock-up versus the first look, they are exactly the same, and currently they are scheduled to debut on February 2nd for $200. This is a pair that I'm definitely looking forward to picking up. It's the Air Jordan 1 High OG Dark Marina Blue. Now, images have been floating around for months and months, and once again, the shoe was featured in the previous video. However, it's getting shown once again because, unfortunately, the release date has changed. Originally scheduled to debut on January 22nd, the pair will now debut on February 16th. The retail price will be $170. Washington Wizards power forward Rui Hachimura will have his own Air Jordan 8 release. Now, there was some speculation that the shoes were going to release in fall, but now we have a release date which will take place in February. But before I get to that, this pair will feature a twine, gym red, black, and sesame colorway. Twine lands on the overlays, which also has an aged look, while this pair is constructed with mostly suede. Black and red lands on the tongue, liner, accents, and the outsole. Other details includes Rui's logo on the tongue, as well as the insoles, and then each pair will come housed with a special box. For this pair, they dropped February 18th for $225. I know a lot of you are excited for this, the return of the Air Jordan 12 playoffs. Well, showcase part of Jordan Brand's Spring 2022 collection, we now have a first look at the 2022 edition. So as you can see, they're pretty much on point to the OG release, but along with these photos and many others, they put out some more information which I thought was a bit interesting as far as going forward. So I'm going to read from that right now, and it reads, in 2022, the Air Jordan 12 will celebrate its 25th anniversary. Fans of the brand can instantly think of the silhouette's defining moment, Game 5 of the finals, when a 103-degree fever couldn't stop Jordan from tallying 38, 7, and 5. To celebrate the shoe, Jordan Brand is releasing the original playoff colorway of the Air Jordan 12 in its OG specs. That's OG everything: leather upper, mudguard, carbon fiber shank plate, everything. The timing points back to when the shoe debuted in Cleveland during All-Star Weekend in 1997. In February 2022, the shoe will release in, where else? Cleveland, during the year's NBA All-Star Game. The harmony of time, place, and occasion is one of the major goals of the Jordan Brand Retro collections every season. How can a product line built on legacy shoe models be innovative for today's brand? Through a philosophy of deep, multifaceted intention and teamwork, making sure each launch connects properly within the brand's history to create a sense of curiosity for current and future fans. We don't want to release these OG colorways randomly, said Donald Kelsey, Jordan Brand Product Director, Global Retro Line. It has to be tethered in some way to MJ's story. Our team is serious about connecting the dots for when these OG models or colorways release. The diehard fans can see that we care about preserving history, while new fans are invited to dig into their curiosity and explore the reasons of timing. Why now? Why this shoe? Then the answers start flowing. We never launch a retro in isolation. I am a fan of the history behind the shoes, but what this is saying to me is, more than likely, the OG colorways, they'll start to slow down. I actually noticed that Jordan Brand has retroed less pairs. We're actually seeing older retro colorways come out more. On to the release details. The Air Jordan 12 playoffs will release on February 19th, 2022 during All-Star Weekend, and the retail price will be $200. Also, this pair will be available in full family sizing. Part of Jordan Brand's spring unveiling is the Air Jordan 4 Cell Canvas. This pair was also being called Blank Canvas, and prior to this we had a Photoshop, which is on point to what's releasing. Now, there's one slight difference, and honestly I'm not sure if I like it or not, but what's releasing, it'll actually have canvas on part of the midsole, well, most of the midsole, and then a hit of blue and red on the outsole. There's supposed to be speckled detailing on the outsole. You really can't see it. We only have the one photo, as well as cell lands on the upper, all constructed with canvas. So this will be a women's release, and they will drop on February 24th, and the retail price should be $200. Originally scheduled for January, the Air Jordan 3 Cardinal Red, aka Cardinal, will debut in February. Now, this pair is being featured because we also received a first look maybe about 2 weeks ago. Anyways, this is another pair that resembles the Photoshop that Z Sneakerhead Z and I put out. And the overall theme is taken from the Air Jordan 7 Cardinal. Now, some are already calling this the McDonald's shoe. I really don't see that when I see this shoe. I get it, we got some of the colors used, but maybe due to the fact that it's a mostly white upper, I don't really see it. Also, the images you're looking at, they are in grade school sizing. They're also going to release in adult sizing on February 24th, and the retail price will be $200. Also part of Jordan Brand's Spring 2022 unveiling is the Air Jordan 6 Mint Foam. Again, this is a women's exclusive release, and the Photoshop that was making the rounds a few months ago is exactly on point to what's releasing. So Jordan Brand was originally calling the shoe New Tiffany Blue or simply Tiffany Blue. Now they're just going to call it Mint Foam, and that is due to the colorway, which features a white pure platinum in mint foam. The pair features white leather on the upper, we have gray nubuck on the base, and mint foam fills in part of the midsole, branding on the heel and heel clip, and then we have metallic silver for the lace lock. Finishing the look is a translucent outsole. So currently scheduled to release on March 8th in women's sizing, the retail price will be $200. Most of you already know that the Air Jordan 4 Zen Master is inspired by Phil Jackson. For months, there's been several photoshops going around of this shoe, and you guys might remember that I said it was close but not identical due to the fact of the upper. So the upper was a bit difficult to make on the Photoshop, but it is close, especially because now we have a first look to compare to. As you can see, it has this multicolor pastel-like upper, black hits the laces, tongue label, liner, and part of the midsole. The pair has a red Jumpman on the tongue, a translucent heel tab and eyelets, and then on the inside of the tongue we have Zen Master flipped upside down. So the pair is currently scheduled for March 19th, and the retail price is $210. So on SC releases, the retail price will be bumped up $10. On the regular retros, they will now cost $200. We also have a first look at the Air Jordan 3 Canvas, aka Muslin. Now, originally I was told that the shoes were called Canvas, but most people are calling them Muslin, and that's due to the colorway. They feature a muslin, university red, cement gray, and cell colorway. Now the pair will come with muslin natural dyed canvas on the upper and eye stays, which replaces the traditional leather. Cement gray wraps the toe and heel, and unfortunately, as you can see, the pair won't feature elephant print. We have red on the bottom eyelets as well as the branding and a gray rubber outsole. So again, another shoe that is spot on to the mock-up that Z and I put out months ago, and currently the pair is scheduled to release on March 26th, and the retail price will be $210. Look, I personally don't like to bash shoes because we all have our own opinion, right? I might like a shoe and you may hate it, or you might like a shoe and I just don't like it at all. Well, it's kind of hard for me to keep quiet, but here is a first look at the Air Jordan 7 Sapphire. Now I'm sorry, maybe it's the image, but to me these are atrocious. I wouldn't buy these on sale for $20. Okay, maybe I take that back. I wouldn't spend over $50 for them though. But like always, buy what you like. Don't let me interfere with that. I'm just here to give you the info. As you can see, this pair has mesh paneling, similar to that of the PSG collab. We also have purple on the booty and pink, and then speckled detailing on the midsole. So this is a pair that looks absolutely nothing like the Photoshop. However, I stated previously that it was only a Photoshop. We don't know how the shoes will look, but that has changed. And if you're a fan of them, they drop on March 30th for $210. April brings us a women's release of the Air Jordan 11 Low. This pair is known as Pure Violet. Another pair that was featured in the previous video, however, we now have a first look. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this just because the Photoshop is identical to what's releasing, as you can see. Currently, we don't have a release date. They are expected to debut in April, and the retail price will be $190. Now, it was very disappointing to hear that this pair, the release date would be pushed back. Now, we never really had a release date per se, but initially they were rumored to debut in February. Typically, with the Air Jordan 1 High 85, they drop around All-Star Weekend. Sadly, that's not going to be the case, and now they are rumored to release in April. So 2 months they got pushed back, and who knows, it's possible that they get pushed back another 2 months, and the retail price will be $200. Celebrating Easter, the Air Jordan 5 known as Easter, will debut in April. Now, this was a shoe that was featured in the prior video, but again, we now have a first look. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what it is about the shoe, but I really like them. Now, the Photoshop was somewhat close to what we're getting. I did mention that it was just a Photoshop. We didn't know at the time what they're gonna look like, but these I'm definitely happy with. It looks like we have this iridescent purple hue on the eyelets that also hits the mesh netting. We got some purple on the liner as well, inside of the tongue and Jumpman. Now on the upper, it looks like we have pink nubuck, and I think that's what draws me to them the most, as well as the teal that's on the translucent outsole. So for this pair, other details includes purple on the midsole and some speckled detailing. Now, believe it or not, this is expected to be a men's release, which is somewhat surprising. Usually they don't release these type of colors in men's sizing. They do time to time, but as of late, we haven't seen them. And this is a definite pickup for me, expected to debut in April sometime. We don't have a specific date, and the retail price will be $210. A shoe that I'm really looking forward to is the Air Jordan 1 High OG Heritage. Shortly after I put out that 2022 Air Jordan release dates video, we received a first look at this shoe. Now, I did showcase that in prior news videos as well as the website. However, keeping in the theme of things, I wanted to share the first look for this video since that's what I'm doing for other shoes. Currently, all the release info is still the same. April 9th is the current expected release date, and the retail price will be $170. We're going to see a handful of collaborations on the Air Jordan 2 release in 2022. And one of those we recently found out about is the Ma Maniere Air Jordan 2. Now, the image you're looking at is a Photoshop. It's not an accurate one, so what releases will look different. Now, what we can confirm right now is that they feature a cell, black, and burgundy crush colorway. Now, that theme is very similar to that of the Air Jordan 1 that recently released, and depending on the time that this video goes out, then possibly before the second drop of the shoes. Yes, they are releasing again at Ma Maniere's website on the 20th. And as for the look goes, all we really know is that you can expect Ma Maniere branding. More than likely, cell will be used mostly, and then we'll have black and burgundy crush accents. April 29th is when the pair is expected to release, and the retail price will be $225. Dropping in May, we now have a first look at the Air Jordan 1 High OG Stage Haze. The pair features a white, black, gray fog, and bleached coral colorway. So again, just like the Photoshop, they have gray suede on the heel, white leather on the base, black on the overlays, and the very nice touch is bleached coral outlining the Nike Air branding on the tongue. Now, to me, I really like the shoes. I definitely plan on picking them up, and the release date is May 14th, and the retail price will be $170. What was rumored to release in 2021, it looked like the release was pushed back till early 2022. What you're looking at is the Clot Air Jordan 5 Low collab, and they are currently expected to debut in May. Now, before I go over the release date, the pair features a black, classic jade, fire red, and metallic silver colorway. The overall look of the shoe is interesting. It definitely aligns with Clot's creative side. Huge fan of the Clot Air Jordan 14 Low, by the way. The pair features bungee cords on the eyelets. We have a mint green hue on the translucent mesh, as well as the outsole, mostly black up top, and metallic silver on the shark teeth. Now, the current release date is scheduled for May 20th, and currently we don't have a retail price. Going forward, all the shoes that I'm going to talk about are brand new leaks, recently came out, and the first one is the Air Jordan 12 Stealth. Now, what you're looking at is an accurate representation of what's releasing, so this is confirmed. Now the color blocking on this pair is similar to the Obsidian Air Jordan 12, but of course instead of Obsidian we have gray. Utilizing gray leather on the upper, white lands on the mudguard, outsole, laces, and tongue branding. We have a bit of metallic silver that hits the top two eyelets, a darker shade of gray fills in the liner and the heel, and each pair will come with original packaging. So the pair is expected to debut in July 2022 for $200, and they will be available in full family sizing. Next up we have this Air Jordan 1 High OG simply being called gray white. Now more than likely they're going to have some sort of nickname. We don't know the specific colorway, but what we do know is how they're going to look, because what you're looking at is an accurate Photoshop. Now it's very simple yet clean. They have white leather on the base, gray leather lands on the overlays, as well as the laces, tongue branding, and outsole. Very simple and clean, expected to release in July, and the retail price will be $170. Releasing in women's sizing, we have the Air Jordan 12 Hyper Royal. The pair features a Hyper Royal black, metallic silver, and white colorway. So to go over the pair, they feature black tumble leather on the upper, Hyper Royal blue on the mudguard, white covers the midsole and the outsole, and then we have metallic silver on the top eyelets and the Jumpman plates on the side. I want to like this shoe, but I feel like the color blocking, it doesn't go together right. And also I'm not a fan of the mostly white on the outsole. Either way, this pair drops right before my birthday, which is July 14th, and the retail price will be $200. It looks like Jordan Brand is going to be doing something new in 2022. They're going to combine two retro releases onto one. So what you're looking at is the Air Jordan 13 French Blue. This is an accurate Photoshop of what's releasing. Now the pair comes dressed in a white, French blue, and gray colorway. Now what Jordan Brand did here is that they grabbed the Air Jordan 13 Gray Toe that originally released in 2005. They also retroed in 2014. And then they grabbed the True Blue 3s. So as you can see, the pair features gray on the toe. They have a bit of red on the tongue, which of course is similar to that of the Air Jordan 3 True Blue. And then we have that shade of blue, which covers the lower part of the panels, midsole and heel, constructed with suede, of course. And yeah, it's close to True Blue, but it's not exactly the same. But overall, I do like the shoe. It's clean. And currently, the pair is expected to debut in August for $200. Also, they will be available in full family sizing. I know some people love the Air Jordan 1 Low OGs, others dislike the model, they rather have the highs, but we have another UNC release coming in August. This is simply called the Air Jordan 1 Low OG UNC. The pair features the traditional colors of university blue, black, and white. However, the actual blocking is mixed up a bit, and what you're looking at is an accurate Photoshop of what's releasing. So the pair features white leather on the base, we have black on the overlays and swoosh, and of course highlighting the shoe is university blue, which hits the heel, tongue branding, and the rubber outsole. The shoe will feature Nike Air branding on the tongue, we'll have the Wings logo on the heel, and a white midsole. No specific release date, they are currently scheduled to debut in August, and the retail price will be $130. When you hear of Starfish, typically what comes to mind is shattered backboard. And when you think of shattered backboard, you think of the Air Jordan 1. Now Jordan Brand has tried to release a few different models with this theme, but it's always going to be connected to the Air Jordan 1. Now dropping in the summer, we have a women's exclusive known as Starfish. What you're looking at is another Photoshop, however it's an accurate one. So a few things different here. However, the pair once again does feature a Starfish cell in black colorway, utilizing cell on the base, orange lands on the overlays, and the rubber outsole. Now if you look closely, what's interesting is on the panels, the swoosh, it appears to be cut out and the orange will display through. Also, something new on this pair is the woven pattern, which lands on the ankle, done in black. will have a little bit of unique stitching which lands on the lateral side, and more sell on the midsole. Currently, the release date for this pair is August 4th, and the retail price will be $170. Like I mentioned, this is a women's exclusive release. Unfortunately, they won't release in women's extended sizing. They'll go up to a women's size 12, which is a men's size 10.5. When I found out about this shoe releasing, it was very hard for me to keep quiet, but I did. And I've covered this shoe a few times dating back to 2019, just for the simple fact that a lot of people ran with the narrative that it was going to release in 2019, as well as a few sources saying in 2020. Now, I say sources loosely because in my eyes, they're not really a source, but summer 2022, the Air Jordan 1 High OG Yellow Toe will finally release. It will be a little different from what we saw prior. On the Shinedown sample, which is where the inspiration comes from, that shoe features University Gold. Now the 2022 release will have Taxi. Also, the first image that you saw, it is accurate, and currently the release date is August 27th. Now, it's possible that the release date could get changed. Matter of fact, most of these release dates, very possible they could get pushed, and the retail price will be $170. September is going to be a good month for releases, at least in my opinion. And one of those pairs releasing is the Air Jordan 14 Ginger. For those that don't know, the Air Jordan 14 Ginger is an original colorway. However, when it released back in 1999, it was in low top form. The pair has yet to retro, but now we have very similar color blocking applied to the mid. Like I mentioned, there is a few differences. One is the fact that it's a mid, and two is that we have red on the heel and tongue. Other than that, we'll have yellow on the nubuck upper, white leather on the toe. The same shade will land on the midsole, and then we got black on the tongue, liner, and outsole. For this pair, we don't have a specific release date. They will drop in September, and the retail price will be $200. Throughout the years, Jordan Brand has released multiple retros that features the Georgetown Hoyas colors. Matter of fact, in this video, I just spoke on the Air Jordan 1 High 85 Georgetown that will now release in April. Although not officially tied to the school, they won't have Georgetown branding or anything like that, but the color blocking is on point. Also, what you're looking at is a Photoshop, but it's an accurate one of what's releasing. Highlighted with gray on the upper, we have navy on the midsole, lace lock, Jumpman branding, and heel clip. Finishing the look is a translucent outsole, so expected to debut in September for $200. Also, this pair will be available in adult and grade school sizing. Another gray base shoe will drop in September. This is the Air Jordan 11 Low IE, simply being called gray. Now, the reason for that is we don't have the specific colorway. That information, along with many of the others, will leak in about a week or two. However, what I can say is that this is a Photoshop, but it's an accurate one. So, although we don't know what the name of the gray is, we do know what it's going to look like. Now, as of late, the Air Jordan 11 Low IE has released in some nice colorways. We even had the OG return. This one's decent, definitely not a must-have for me, but to break down the shoes, they feature gray leather on the base, we have suede on the overlays, white hits the tongue, laces, and midsole, and then we have black on the liner. Other details includes a metallic silver Jumpman on the tongue and a translucent outsole, dropping September 2022 for $180. Last up for September, we have the return of the Air Jordan 7 Citrus. Originally, this pair dropped back in 2006, and when information broke a few days ago, a lot of people were excited. Now, I remember when these dropped. At that time, I was a bit upset that I passed on them, and although a lot of people had them, people in the sneaker community hated the shoe. I don't know why, but there was a lot of people just not going after them. They didn't want them. But then when years went on, a lot of people started to like them. This isn't anything new, it happens a lot actually. And the pair that you're looking at is actually the 2006 release. So they are once again expected to resemble that of the 2006. They'll feature a black, citrus, and varsity red colorway, highlighted with black nubuck on the upper. Citrus and varsity red accents will land on the midsole, Jumpman, and other branding. Now, the standout feature on this pair is the orange contrast stitching that runs throughout. Now, if you have the 2006 pair, I do know that the heel tab on the shoe cracks. And if you have a dead stock pair, I definitely would not recommend you wearing them, and just hold out for the retro. Currently, the release date is September 5th, and the retail price will be $200. Also, this pair will be available in full family sizing. Now we're into the fall 2022 releases. I'm not really going in particular order. Well, I shouldn't say that. The order I picked was my least favorite to favorite, or what I feel is the least favorite to the most sought after. And the first pair to go over is the Air Jordan 7 Afrobeats. Now, I can't lie, I am a fan of the shoe. I like the design. And for those that don't know, 2022 marks the 30th anniversary of the Air Jordan 7. So throughout the year, we will see different releases to celebrate. And for those that don't know what Afrobeats is, this is the definition from Wikipedia. Afrobeats, also known as Afropop, Afrofusion, is an umbrella term to describe popular music from West Africa and the diaspora that initially developed in Nigeria, Ghana, and the UK in the 2000s and 2010s. Once again, what you're looking at is a Photoshop, but it's an accurate one, and the pair features both beige and tan on the upper, while it has a unique design that wraps the heel and panels that's somewhat similar to the Bin 23 Air Jordan 7. On the tongue and booty, we have white and black, which forms a unique design. And then we have black on the laces, midsole, and outsole. Beige fills in some of the branding, and then finishing the look is blue accents on the midsole. So no specific release date, expected to release in fall, and the retail price will be $200. This pair will also be available in adult and grade school sizing. We got a couple upcoming Air Jordan 4s that somewhat resemble friends and family pairs, or very limited pairs that released way back. One of those is the Air Jordan 4 Canyon Purple. Now, if you squint your eyes and tilt the screen a little bit to the right, this kind of looks like the Travis Scott Air Jordan 4. Well, not really, but again, for the price, I'm definitely taking these over spending that kind of money for a Travis collab. So this is also a women's exclusive release. It comes dressed in a Canyon Purple, Anthracite, Alligator, and Safety Orange colorway. Again, the image used is a Photoshop, but it's an accurate one of what's releasing. So we have purple suede on the base, Alligator green lands on the top of the eyelets, and the midsole with speckled detailing. We then have Anthracite, which covers the base of the wing eyelet, heel tab, laces, mesh panels, and part of the midsole. Lastly, orange hits the branding. Now, although it kind of looks like it, I doubt that this pair will have a glow-in-the-dark outsole. I think it's just that alligator green hue. And again, they are dropping in women's sizing during fall 2022 for $200. In 2022, Jordan Brand will release the Air Jordan 4 Blank Canvas, but also later on in the year, they will drop the Air Jordan 4 Olive Canvas. This pair, once again, is a Photoshop, but it's accurate, so what you're looking at is what will land at retailers this fall. Again, if you rub your eyes really hard, you squint them a bit, you can kind of see an Undefeated 4 vibe. I know I'm reaching here quite a bit, but again, I'd rather pay the price for this shoe compared to the Undefeated 4s. Now, I would rather have the Undefeated 4s 100%, but the price for those, they're really expensive. So, for this pair, they come with olive canvas on the upper, black lands on the netting, tongue label, wing eyelets, and the heel. Following, we have gray on the eye stay, tongue, and heel branding. Other details includes red on the laces, white on the midsole, and a black rubber outsole. Dropping in adult and grade school sizing during fall 2022 for $210. During fall 2022, we'll have the chance to purchase multiple colorways of the Air Jordan 1 High OG. Now here is a new colorway, however the color blocking is familiar to most. This shoe is known as Heirloom. As you can see, the color blocking resembles that of the dark Marina blue Air Jordan 1 as well as the Pollen Air Jordan 1. The only difference, we have tan on the overlays. To break down the shoes, they feature black on the base, we have premium tan leather on the overlays, white on the midsole, and a tan rubber outsole. Each pair will also come with 3 extra stone-washed laces in special packaging. Also, a heads up, the image you're looking at is a Photoshop, however, it's an accurate one of what's releasing. Now, this shoe is said to be somewhat on the limited side, and they will drop during fall 2022 for $170. I'm sure when most of us hear any Jordan associated with Concord, we think of the Air Jordan 11 Concord. However, Jordan brand will release the Air Jordan 5 Concord this fall. The image you're looking at is another Photoshop, but it's an accurate one of what's releasing, so expect the shoe to look exactly like this when they land at retailers. The pair will feature a white, black, Concord, and metallic silver colorway. Now, the color blocking resembles that of the Air Jordan 5 Fire Red. Instead of Fire Red, we have Concord, which is purple. So, white leather runs across the base, we have mesh on the panels, lower part of the tongue. We'll also have metallic silver on top of the tongue, which is 3M. We'll have Concord on the lace lock inside of the tongue, Jumpman on the heel, and shark teeth on the midsole. Finishing the look is a translucent outsole. This pair will be available in full family sizing during fall 2022 for $200. Now, to me, this pair is really nice. I love the fact that they're using the fire red color blocking, but we now have purple. Really clean pair. They should also be a GR, so probably not too many problems getting your hands on them. But then again, you know how Jordans are lately. Stuff sells out fast. But hopefully by then, they won't be so hard to obtain. I had to save the best for last, at least in my opinion, and we have the confirmation of the Air Jordan 3 Fire Red returning. Now, news broke maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago that the shoes would return. It was a rumor, although it came from Mr. Unloved Ones originally, and I trust him, but I just wanted to make sure with my sources that this was 100% a go, and it is. So for those that don't know, the shoe has released 3 times so far. This would be the 4th. The first time was in 1988, it was the original release, and one of 4 colorways. The other 3, of course, is the black cement, white cement, and true blue. We saw the first retro take place in 2007, and the 3rd release took place in 2013. Now, both retro releases featured the Jumpman on the heel. The original release in 1988 has Nike Air branding. For 2022, we're going to see Nike Air branding once again, so making it the first time that they bring the shoes back true to form. They're also going to try to do that with the overall shape, the look. I just really hope that they get the elephant print correct. Now, if you notice the elephant print that wraps the toe, it's a lot thinner. It doesn't run up so high. I love this look. Also, you're going to notice some images in here with Michael Jordan's signature. That's actually from Heritage Auctions. It's the OG pair that was signed. No, the 2022 pair will not have a signature on it. Also, this pair will come with original packaging. Now, we don't have a specific release date. They are expected to debut fall. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the release more towards Black Friday, but that's just me speculating. The retail price will be $210, and they will also be available in full family sizing. And that's going to do it for this video. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and of course being subscribed to the channel. It definitely means a lot. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I suspect it's going to be longer than my traditional news videos, but not as long as part 1 of this series. So just want to thank you guys for sticking through, and if you got a second, like always, greatly appreciate a thumbs up, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe by hitting the red button below. I want to wish you guys Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. This will probably be my last upload before Christmas. I should have a few more before New Year's, of course. So like always, be on the lookout for that. Again, thanks for watching. Stay tuned to SneakerFiles.com, and if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe.